After my last video about the whole C, I had a lot of comments and a lot of questions from all of you, and the video was well received, and thank you all so much for that. But I just couldn't get to all of your questions at the time, because a lot of them were all the same question over and over again, and I'm going to get to them now. If you already know all about the whole C, then this is not the video for you, so thanks for stopping by. Make sure you like and subscribe and tell me how cool I am in the comments before you go. But for the rest of you that have questions about the whole C, let's get into that now. Well, the first and obvious question people are going to have is, in 402, does the whole C even work? And the answer is, well, yeah, kind of. The slogan of Star Citizen should be, experiences may vary, because they're going to. You can kind of get the whole C to work most of the time, but like with all things in Star Citizen, there's going to be problems along the way. Sometimes missions may not complete. Sometimes there are going to be server errors. I personally have experienced a lot of server errors with 402, and the server always recovers. But if you're talking about hauling a full whole C, right? So you're hauling anywhere from 1.5 to sometimes 7 mil worth of cargo. Do you want to risk server errors? Because I don't. The single most asked question I had was, do cargo services work with other ships besides the whole C? And the answer is no. And that, dear viewer, is some fucking horse shit. Cargo services should work with any ship that has an open cargo grid or a shallow cargo grid. Should it work with the whole C? Yes. Should it work with the C2? No. The C2 has a closed cargo hold. It should work with the entire whole series. I think it should work with the Raft. I think it should work with the Caterpillar. The Caterpillar has a cargo hold, but it's shallow, it's accessible. And everyone says, well, when it's all more physicalized, you have to load this by yourself. Well, no, you don't, because the ultimate plan with these cargo grids is that drones are going to come out and load your stuff for you. You can actually see this in the original trailer for the whole C. So right now we got the whole A and the whole C in the game. They should both be able to pull into that cargo grid. If you have a dedicated cargo hauler, it should be able to access these cargo services. That should be the gameplay loop for dedicated cargo haulers. I mean, isn't that the whole point of these cargo centers, is that cargo hauling ships get to use them? But they don't, do they? Because only one ship does. Oh yeah, we've got more whole series planned, so there's gonna be more cargo haulers in the game. Well, you know, aside from the concept art, which doesn't match across the board, there hasn't been a single mouse click of development for the whole B. The Ironclad should also be able to access these grids, I think. And someone's gonna say, oh, well, the Ironclad, it's useful for so much more than cargo hauling. Ultimately, it's a cargo hauler. Yeah, you can use it for a carrier, but you know what? There's no fucking reason to have a carrier in Star Citizen, is there? At most, you're gonna get like, what, a few ships in there? But there's no gameplay for it, so fuck off. Another frequent question was about landing and docking this ship. Like, does it always have to be docked, or can you just land in a hangar? When you first call this ship up and it's unloaded and unfolded, it's gonna spawn inside of an extra large hangar. And that's the only time you have to put it in a hangar. Anytime after that, you go to land this thing at a Lagrange station or a cargo center, it's going to go to the docking port. You can't just pull into a hangar, and that's also some fucking horse shit. If this ship is closed up, like, I should be able to pull into a hangar. I shouldn't have to dock this thing every single time, and that's kind of what they make you do. Does docking work now? Manual docking doesn't work, but you can still like auto land to dock this thing. So as long as you line it up, but you got to pull it up like really close. Like, you have to have it like right on the collar before you can auto dock this bad boy. And it's kind of weird, but that's kind of how it is. Sometimes docking causes a problem. Sometimes docking doesn't always work. Sometimes in certain patches of the game, the entire docking system is just messed up and broken. There have been entire patch cycles I couldn't use this ship because docking wasn't working. So I'd love to see them fix this. That would be fantastic. Some good news about docking to buy and sell is that you don't actually have to. You don't actually have to dock your ship in order for the inventory to show up in the station's list. You just have to be in proximity to the station. So you can pull your ship up and park it just right next to a pad and jump out the side and go inside to access the terminal, and the ship will show up there. You don't, yeah, like I said, you don't actually have to dock your ship every single time. So you're welcome for that. Another common question I had was, how do I choose the locations for where I'm starting these missions? And that's going to lead into the follow-up question, can you stack the hauling missions? So only the low orbit stations around each planet and the gateways have cargo centers inside of them. And you can only auto-load the whole C from the cargo centers. It has to be low orbit stations and gateways only. You cannot do it from the Lagrange points. You cannot do it from planet. You cannot do it from Orison. Guys, I'm telling you, everybody that had the whole C on day one, we tried, believe me, we tried all of this stuff. We tried every wacky thing imaginable to game the system. One thing you can do is you can actually shoot off the 2 lower spindles and you can land this thing on planet, but you kind of have to shoot them off and you gotta be careful not to damage your ship. Don't try this. But then you're just manually loading everything, right? Which, you know, it's okay, you can do that, but it's easier to do that with more than one person. So if you're running a crew, go for it. If you're just by yourself, it's a lot more hassle than that ship is worth. Just get a larger cargo hauler instead of the whole C if that's what you want to do. I've heard that in 402, a lot of cargo stations in Pyro are actually having issues right now. Let me know in the comments. A common bug I ran into is that you select your ship and it doesn't allow you to load or unload. It doesn't show up as a valid inventory. And there's a bug with this, and I found out later what the problem was. You have to select the second iteration of your name or the second iteration of your ship in the list, and then the cargo services will see your ship as a valid inventory then. But I mean, you know, how can you be expected to understand the ins and outs of every new fresh bug that pops up in this game, right? You can't. So the follow-up, can you stack these missions? No. No, you can't. It actually causes problems. It causes a lot of confusion in the game, and it kind of just ends up causing you to fail the mission ultimately. I ran a very long session testing out a lot of this stuff again, and when I got to the end of it all, I went to submit a mission, just one single solo mission. I went to submit the mission. It unloaded all the boxes off my ship, but it didn't show in the mission that everything had gone through. And I thought, well, one of these things here is glitched. I'm not sure which. So I submitted the ticket and boom, that was it. It reset my rep. Not down a level, not down 2 levels. It completely reset my Kovalex rep into the negative balance. And I had quite a few of you also comment on the last video and say this happened to you as well. I mean, demoralizing isn't even the word for this. Star Citizen is a game about space. And one of the realities of space it tries to bring it home is that space is dangerous. Space is punishing. Mistakes cost. There is high risk, high reward. And I appreciate that. I kind of like that about this game. And when they do implement Death with the Spaceman, it's going to be even more high risk, high reward, right? And again, I appreciate that and I like that. But I would hope that professional game designers would understand the difference between a system that is punitive in order to encourage skill development and provide challenging gameplay versus a system that is abusive of the player's time. And this is the latter. It shouldn't even be in the game. The Hull C has been out for almost 2 years. And in that time, I have hardly used this ship. Someone's going to say, oh, I've made a fortune with the Hull C. So have I. I have made and lost fortunes with the Hull C. I have had entire patch cycles with the Hull C where I couldn't use the ship at all. I've had entire patch cycles with the Hull C where one mission would be a complete success and the next mission would be a total failure. And most of the time, it was through no fault of my own. I can't do it anymore. It's broken my heart, but that's it. I melted this fucking ship. I just wanted to be a space trucker, but Star Citizen won't let me. I can no longer endure the pain and disappointment of a ship that could have been so great and cost so much money, but has received little to no live support since its release. It's just like CIG's attitude is, thanks for the money, assholes. Good luck. And in the meantime, Chris Roberts is sitting on a throne built out of our money. Seriously, they want $500 for this ship. $500. For comparison's sake, I've compiled a list of things I think are a better use of $500 than buying pixels. And here we go. Let me know in the comments what you would put on this list, but this is my personal list of what I think is a better use of $500 freaking dollars. Okay, here we go. Any of your bills. A dirt bike with a flamethrower mounted on the front of it. A jetpack and samurai sword to be used together, obviously, not separately, together. Chainsaws for hands. Depending on where you live and your taxes and tariffs, up to 9 bottles of Green Spot. St. Patty's Day is coming up, by the way, sláinte. And also depending on where you live and the quality, and I assume reasonable quality, 1 to 5 hookers. Maybe 2 at the same time. If you're south of the border, make that 10 to 20 at the same time. That's a better use of your money, my guy. Taking your special somebody out for a really good meal once a week for 5 weeks in a row, that is a better use of your money. Be sure to tell me how stupid I am in the comments. Give this video a like, it really helps me out. If you don't give this video a like, then eat shit. And remember, I'm not a real doctor. If you're an Irish American who's going to get in the comments and talk to me about how Irish you are, save it. If you're not a citizen of Ireland, if you've never lived in Ireland, if you've never even been to Ireland, I don't care if your name is Kevin or Sean, you're not Irish. You're just an American mutt like the rest of us. You know, my people came over in the same potato boat yours did. Don't go spouting off about it. Drink the whiskey, eat your cabbage, get your ass handed to you at the Flog and Molly concert, but don't tell me about how Irish you are.